Hello everybody there on the internet. It's another Monday. It's me, Dakian. It is in fact Monday the 15th of June 2020. And I'm here to ramble about miniatures and painting. And this week I have completed a total of 11 minis, one of which I'm kind of proud of, and the rest are kind of meh. And interestingly, the one I'm most proud of is in a way the simplest. It's the gallows from Reaper Bones. Not very difficult, but I like the way it turned out. Yeah. Then I pushed myself to finish all of these arcane, I forget the name of the company again. Something miniatures. A failed company with failed minis. And to a certain extent, I pushed through these by throwing money at the problem because I went out and bought some more Citadel contrast paints to try out. I could tell myself I wanted to experiment with them as well. I got some of the darker shades of blue, red, and green, and it turns out they don't work as contrast paints so much as just cover like base paints. They're yeah, or they look like layer paints more, like really thin layer paints. I mean, it's good to have some really thin paints with high coverage, but they don't really do what they say on the tin that they're supposed to do. So, my camera is standing on one of those bendy tripods, which you can sort of put in a lot of different positions. I've had it for a bunch of years, and it's starting to give out. I mean, it's starting to lose its strength. It just certain angles will just cause the whole thing to fall over. So I'm thinking maybe I'll have to get a new one. And this is why I have issues sometimes with the angle. Anyway, I just speed painted these. Some of them I sort of like. I mean, the steampunk nurse is a cool idea, and the sculpt is maybe cool, but the actual model didn't turn out well in the production. This one I don't know about. It's okay. This one turned out okay because it's so extremely simple. It's just some sort of wraith, and it wasn't that hard. And you know, I don't know if I want even to put still pics at the end. I want to hide my shame, but yeah, I will just to show you that, you know, not everything I do turns out perfect. And but I won't be posting them to anywhere else, those pictures. It'll be just for you, my devoted followers. Anyway, now that these are off the plate, so to speak, they're off my desk, I can start painting just stuff that I enjoy, and I can start to find the joy of painting again, so to speak. So let's move on to see what fun projects I have lined up. Still on the table we have a few Reaper Bones projects. These two creatures from Dreadmere have not seen a lot of work, hardly any, but I have prepped this tree a lot. So I attached all the vultures, and I've primed it and the victim, and I've done some heavy dry brushing of the wood. It needs some more highlights, I think, before going on to the stage of successive washes, and then to paint the birds. I'm gonna have to look up what vultures what their coloration actually is, because I don't think I can paint them from memory. I don't think I've ever actually seen any in real life. Maybe at a really far distance. So I'm gonna have to Google some pictures. But that's, just part of the normal research process. What else we got? And here we can see the bandits from Midland Miniatures, the crew of female bandits, primed, paste, and a few undercoats on the dirt. On this, some black on the steel, some brown on the wood parts. A lot of minis to go, but the difference between these and the last batch of character minis I painted is that Midland Miniatures are actually fun to paint. I actually enjoy painting them. So I'm not going to put it off for as long as I did with those Arcane Factories figures. And also I'm not going to rush it like I did with those. I'm actually going to put in the proper amount of work here. That is my normal amount of work. Now, I ran into some issues when priming these. Something in my airbrush setup is not working correctly, and I'm thinking it's something with my compressor. I'm gonna fiddle with it for a while and see if I can get it to work better, but worst case scenario, I might have to get some Rattle-Can primer for next week. It's not really an issue because it's summer and I can just prime by just leaning off my balcony, or rather holding the miniature outside my balcony and spraying on it. As long as the wind isn't blowing it back in my face. But yeah, I'm gonna have to try to find out what the trouble is and solve it. But anyway, these figures will probably get a lot of work done in the coming week because now they're already primed. So with this rock, I'm thinking I'm gonna have to. I've put together a few sub-assemblies. This is the most pieces. It's the body, the head, the tail, 2 legs. These have all been glued together. I haven't attached the wings yet, and not attached it to the rock. The rock was, well, this was 1 piece, and the rocks were 2 pieces, so this is 4 pieces. And this thing is supposed to rest like this. And this is, they've learned. This looks like it's going to be a better, more stable position for it, unlike something like the Kraken, where it's resting on only 1 piece of thin plastic that bends. Anyway, so the wings go on like this. You see, you can't even have all of it in shot at the same time. It's freaking huge. If I were to assemble all this, I would not be able to move it around for painting without knocking everything on my desk over all the time. So definitely the wings have to be painted separately. Possibly the body and the rock as well. I might have them dry fitted like this for priming and then take them off for painting, so that way I can see some of the areas where there's contact will be left clear, so the glue can adhere better once I do that. But we'll see. It's possible that this portion will be in stages. Like I'll paint this separately, I'll paint the underside of the bird, glue the bird on, paint the top side of the bird. That seems likely, and this huge gap here is just, I tried to fill it, but it's not going to be visible. It's going to be underneath here, so it's not going to be noticeable, hopefully. And so I you know, there was a wiggle room here. I could have glued the tail in so that there was less gap here but more here, but decided no, the opposite is best. It's better to have, because this is going to be visible all the time, so it's better to have a smaller gap there. And yeah, and the gap filling here has a few bubbles in it, but that's doesn't matter. It's going to be invisible with a primer. Yeah, so I might show this to you primed next time. I'm not sure. I'll film it during the middle of the week in that case and show it to you later. But as mentioned, it's not going to be. I'm going to have to try to keep this a secret, what the actual paint job is. Well, hello, what's this? Another Reaper order. Well, yeah, thing is, this particular mini that you're looking at here, Hanae the Female Warrior, was the new bonus mini for the month of May. But when I placed my first order, when I got around to doing that for in the month of May, she was already out of stock in the EU, the UK warehouse. So, you know, I got something else. But then she came back in stock, and I was... You know, I gave in to temptation. I placed a second order just so I could get this bonus mini. And for some reason, I got 2 bonus minis, and for the second one, I got the King of the Elves. I'm not sure why they did that, because I wasn't up to the actual amount that would get me 2 bonus minis, but oh well. Anyway, so these 2 characters we will put to one side for now. But the stuff I do want to start painting immediately are the monsters that I got. The monsters, first off, we have the Toilet Paper Mocking Beast and the Toilet Paper Mocking Beast Swarm. And these are, well, years from now people will not understand the joke here, but this is because this is a joke on the hoarding of toilet paper that happened during the early stages of the coronavirus pandemic. I think that's died out now. I mean, people aren't really making jokes about it anymore, but it was a thing for a while. And Reaper very quickly produced a couple of Mimic minis that are... This one is a huge roll of toilet paper, and this is a lot of normal-sized rolls as a swarm. So yeah, I had to pick these up, and I pulled the order out with one huge mini Gormaw, the purple worm. You see he's in a lot of pieces here. I felt like I needed this one because I've already painted the purple worm from Gale Force 9, which is of a similar size and a similar idea to the sculpt, as in it also only shows like top little portion of the worm coming up out of the ground and rearing up and wanting to swallow something. But it is a very different sculpt in the way that it has a different idea of what the worm should look like. Oh, this is the back, same picture. Oh well. Interestingly enough, because of this big packaging, it came in a big box, and that meant they threw in a couple, their catalog, the Book of Bones from spring 2019. So this is an old one. I guess they gave it away because it's a year old by now. It doesn't contain all the latest stuff, but it does have, you know, quite a lot in it. And then this thing is just to sort of show their assortment of paints. Well. So I'm going to start painting the toilet papers and the purple worm, the Gormaw. They're going to be on my schedule for prepping for next week. Do I want to prep something more? Well, yes, and I thought I would clear out the rest of these models from Minx Studios, and there's 4 of them. There are these 3 are pirates, and they're their usual 32mm scale, so they're pretty big. They're bigger than, like, if you look at them. See, he's slightly taller than the typical 28mm miniature. There's 1 female, 2 males. And then there's this model, which is, as you can see, a Minotaur. Comes with a big scenic base supplied, and a lot of equipment here. I don't know if there's any options, or if it's all supposed to be attached to. We'll see. We'll figure it out. But he's interesting. A lot of detail, and this is. The casting on these is much better than on the Arcane Factory stuff. The Minx miniatures are way superior. I'm gonna have to try to figure out if these little pieces are actually supposed to be there, or if where I'm gonna cut when I attach them to the base. But that'll be it. So only 3, 6, 7 new minis, but you know. Some of these are really complex and big, and I do have a lot of stuff on my plate, but I want to see if I can get up to speed now that vacation has started for real. So, that was this episode. I think it was a pretty good one. If you agree, click like, subscribe if you haven't done so, comment, and join me again in a week. Same day of the week, same channel, same Dakian. I'm Who's Now, signing off.